You don't got to go to work, 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 but you got to put in the work, 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 work. Welcome to another sermon from the Reverend Cappy channel. There's a lot of works in that song, which hopefully you all know, Work From Home by Fifth Harmony. It's not quite about this work topic, if you know, you know, but it's perfect for what I want to talk about, which is that to beat this thing, it's a disorder. It's more than an addiction. Addiction you can beat with willpower alone. This takes a minimum superhuman willpower, and it's really the willpower to do the work, which is doing hard things sober, and it's replacing the artificial dopamine hits from alcohol with natural ones. I've talked about my favorites from home early on. First, day one, you just got to practice pure self-care. Best thing I ever heard is just, you don't have to do anything. You can lie, if possible, lie around the couch all day, eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want, non-alcoholic. That even really goes for the first 30 days or more. You get the sugar cravings. Don't worry about gaining weight. I know a woman gained 20 pounds within, she was back within a year. Her fighting weight, much more important. And as long as you're not drinking poison, don't worry about what you're eating. Probably the biggest overall arcing thing for work is the self-care. It's making, great quote I'll give you from the best show to ever get canceled after one season, single drunk female. She would go to AA and her sponsor told her, if you don't make sobriety your number one priority, you will drink again. But if you do make it your priority, everything will fall into place. And I find that as true as my saying that all the promises of alcohol are lies and all the promises of sobriety are true. So you've got to care about yourself enough to make this a priority, and you've got to, as they say, be so sick and tired of being sick and tired that you're gonna summon all the willpower you can find to do the work. And that in turn will beat this thing. If you just keep doing the work, you keep showing up, I don't care how many day ones it takes, you will beat this thing. I thought of recently that every day one that's declared should be with pride, get you that it's either going to be your last day one or it's going to get you one step closer to your last day one. So back to the work. I've already talked about those dopamine hits you can get from home early on because we're still in hermit mode. And that is fresh air, sunshine, exercise, tremendous antidepressant and happy pills. Baby steps, if you're not used to exercise, it can be as little as just a walk around the block. Go as far as you can do it. If you're in the mood, call a friend. That'll keep you going. Very important. Next one, showers in general. Change your nervous system, make you feel better. But cold shower finishes give you a tremendous dopamine hit. And it is doing a hard thing sober. I still almost dread it every single time I do it, but I'm also so proud. And it really only takes 10, 15 seconds before I'm used to that water. And then I take the extra step. You just need 30 seconds, but I go for a full, after the 30 seconds, I get it off my head and I just dance around for a couple more minutes. Feel like $1,000,000. And I feel proud getting out of there. And speaking of proud, the next one is being on sobriety calls, whether that's AA in person or on Zoom, or being in a sober Zoom community and sharing on there. It could be as little as 10 seconds. Doesn't matter what you say, as long as you say it, you're going to feel proud as hell about yourself. And everyone's on there thinking about themselves. I like to say it's a judgment-free Zoom, sort of like a judgment-free zone at Planet Fitness. So do not worry about what you say. As long as you say something, you're going to be so proud, and it's going to give you tremendous confidence in dopamine hit. Next one, I'm adding in, I used to say the top 3 at home, but fourth one, gratitude practice, which I didn't think I was good at, but I talk about us being, we are the luckiest all the time, which is a great book and is the sober community I'm in, Luckiest Club. We are the luckiest in so many ways, including we're allergic to poison. It forces us to do this work, which everybody needs. But since we have this little problem, it causes us to summon the willpower to do this work. Kudos to Laura McCowan, who wrote that book, for that thought right there. Okay, next thoughts I haven't really talked about as far as next items of doing the work. Quit lit, binging, quit lit, and podcasts. A lot of great ones out there. I'm not really hooked on any podcasts other than one called Sober Powered. Tremendous. There's a ton of great quit lit out there. I gave up trying to find time to read. I now resort to audiobooks. Only kills me because I love taking notes. So if I'm not near my computer, but I've accepted just listen, I can always re-listen again, take notes later, or even I've discovered look at the transcript and I can take screenshots off of that. But tremendously important to make time for that. And you have to balance it with sobriety calls. Listening on those, you'll get some gems. But if you find the right Quidlin podcast, you're going to get, plethora of gems off of there. Next thing, accountability partner. For AA, it's more of getting a sponsor. Accountability partners use more in my Zoom communities where it's someone in the ideally same position as you, number of sobriety days, give or take, but it's somebody that it's a partner you're going to be accountable with. Ideally, you're talking to them on text or calls on a daily basis, and it's that person you're going to call, ideally in advance. A slip happens long before you actually take that drink. That voice is always pounding on us. It's a 1-second decision to tell it to F off before it makes up your mind for you, at which point you don't want to be talked out of it. So when you even start sensing that voice rearing its head, that's when you make that call to that accountability partner and help you get additional strength. Sober Instagram. It's regular Instagram, but there's a million sobriety accounts. Just search for sober on there. There's a million sobriety accounts on there. Very uplifting. Even when I was drinking, I'd be reading those on the toilet every day, thinking, well, I'm not doing any of that today, but it got through to me. I wanted to be those people, just like I want to be the people that are having successes on the sobriety calls, which are now me. So get on there. It's fantastic. Coaching and therapy. I guess therapy, I'll say first. Therapy is for the past. Coaching is for the future. And then sharing is for the present, but also helps for the past and the future. But therapy, very important. I've got bad insurance, so I use BetterHelp, pay cash, but you can tell them, they don't do background checks. You just tell them you don't make any money, and I got it down to as little as $50-something a month for a call a week, which is a tremendous value. If you can also afford it, a coach is priceless. If you can't, you can leverage your friends. If you don't have friends and you join community, I promise you'll make plenty of sober friends there that are happy to help. Helping others helps ourselves. So you gotta work on that. Next one is community tools. If you do join an online community, they have all kinds of tools and research information. Just one example, they have this great document in my community on prelapse. It's those things that are happen, again, long before you take that drink. Part of it is isolating yourself and not being in community, not replacing those dopamine hits. But they also have forums where if you don't want to share with your voice, you can write a post, or you can just read a million posts on there, and you can gain so much from those. And you can also make connections and link up with people there as well. Eliminating your triggers, avoiding triggers, and then ideally even eliminating them. I love to joke that the only triggers you can't eliminate are your pesky kids. Even the pesky husband you can eliminate to some extent, and meaning if not altogether. I know you'd still have to deal with them, even if you parted ways, if you have kids. But, things like your job. I walked away from my pizza shop, which was incredibly successful, best for miles, walked away from it because it was my biggest trigger. And I felt it was threatening my sobriety. My accountability partner, great example, she walked away from a divorce, left a lot of money on the table because it was not worth it to her. She figured better for her mental health, walk away. By keeping her mental health, she could make that money up later. And it was the same thing for me. Sobriety is priceless. So eliminate your triggers. You got to do it. And then the overall couple items I love from a friend that she posted. She posts all of these as a list. She tapes it up in her bathroom mirror. And then the last two she has on there is do the effing work and don't effing drink, which I absolutely love. And then I want to share a quote from Laura McCown. In one of her books, she talked about examples of doing the work. Not drinking through a boozy vacation is doing the work. Sitting with your uncomfortable feelings instead of numbing out. Raising your hand in a support meeting and telling the truth about what's going on. Truth and community are so key to this process. Checking in with your sober friends. Also examples of doing the work. As she says, you're probably doing more of the work than you realize. But you've got to make the commitment. You've got to want this. You deserve a better life. You deserve to truly be living. Even when I quit for 3.5 years, I felt like $1,000,000, but I wasn't truly enjoying life sober. Whereas now by doing the work, as I said, I've achieved emotional sobriety, which to me is permission to enjoy life sober and live life on life's terms without numbing things out. So you can do this. You just got to make the commitment. It gets easier every day. Alain was saying I used to do shots, or a shot at least, before my therapy appointment. I didn't want to talk about myself, and I didn't want to do that work. And I also got sick of, I would tell her every week, well, I already drank this week, but I'm going to tell you next week I didn't drink. And then guess what? I drank that week. But eventually I got sick of telling her that. Not so much disappointing her, but disappointing myself. But it's a key item of being accountable. Which, one more thought, one of my best tools is playing the share forward. I would go on a sobriety call, I would share, and I would say, I know I'm going to have a really tough night at my pizza shop, but I'm going to embrace the tension, embrace the fear, tell that perfectionist voice to shut up, and I'm going to make it through the night sober, and then I'm going to share the hell out of it the next day. And that's what I would do. That is key to me. Some say play the tape forward, which is, think about the next day, how you're going to feel like crap and what you might have done stupid that night. To me, drinking is a survival mechanism. When you're in that moment, it's very hard to be thinking of that. But it helped me to think that I'm going to embrace this. Almost the worse it got, the better, because it was going to make for a better share the next day. So that's it. I can do it. You can do it. We can do it. Please like, share, subscribe. And as always, stronger, sober. Thanks.